Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Hope you are doing well. We are at the next game in the 1987 American League replay, the second game to be played on June the 5th, and game number 360 overall out of 1,100 or whatever the total is. Um, we are at Toronto's Exhibition Stadium, which is a symmetrical ballpark, so singles are 1 to 9 for both, home runs are 1 to 11 for both. We've got Toronto battling first place with the Brewers and the Yankees at 32 and 18. And of course, the pitiful Baltimore Orioles checking in at 20 and 32. Battle of the Birds, as they say. On the mound for the Baltimore Orioles is Eric Bell, a left-hander, 3 and 3 on the replay, 10 and 13 overall with a 5.45 earned run average. And he will be opposed by Jimmy Key, who is the star of the league to this point. In real season, 17 and 8 with a 2.76 ERA, but on the replay, he is 11 and 0, and not only just 11 and 0, but an ERA of 1.39, as opposed to the 2.76 he had here. So, Jimmy Key, definitely the MVP of the first half of this season, you would think, at least for the Blue Jays, anyway. So, that's where we're at. That's where we're going to get going. Jimmy Key also is an excellent at holding runners on. He's a -6. So the 0 from Ernie Witt makes him a -6, but a -5 is the best you can have. So he is the full -5. Not that the Orioles are going to do a whole lot of running anyway, because they don't have a whole lot of speed out there, but this will certainly, nix that altogether. His wild pitch rating's a 6. His balk is an 8. On Eric Bell, his wild pitch is a 13. His balk is a 2. Eric Bell has a hold rating of 0, and Kennedy has an arm of 0, so he is a net 0. And neither catcher has a high pass ball rating. Witt's a 3, and Kennedy's a 2. All right. So this will get us going. This was played on Friday, June 5th, 1987. Of course, the game now is being played December 16th, 2025. No telling when the final game will be played, what year. Could be 26, could be 27, who knows? But one thing is for sure, I've completed a lot of projects in my day, and I've not completed some projects that I've started because I lost interest or whatever. But if I don't complete any other project in my lifetime, this project will be completed. I put too much into this not to complete it. So this takes priority over everything else I've got as far as projects go. So if all other projects fall to this wayside, this one will not. That's the one that's going to stand the test of time because Strat's my favorite game, and I'm too invested not to finish it. So, with that being said, we can get our game underway. I went with the Toronto Blue Jay colored dice just to be a little different. Not that the dice really matters. Good morning, Dan. Good to see you. But just for the heck of it, as they say. Hopefully, I've moved my webcam that's on the little stand that's attached to the table. It's on like a gooseneck thing or whatever. I had it way up in the air yesterday for History Maker Baseball, so hopefully I've repositioned it back to where it should be on Strat-O-Matic. Take a look here. It looks like moved over just a tad maybe, but it looks like it's a little bit tilted, but other than that, it looks like it's where it should be, so you can see everything, hopefully. All right, so it is the Baltimore Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays. And Mike Young, designated hitter for the Baltimore Orioles, is up first. But we'll go through the full-length stats of Jimmy Key. I do that for all the starting pitchers, so why not? On the replay, he's 11-0 with an ERA of 1.39, 97 innings pitched, only 67 hits allowed, 26 walks, and 68 strikeouts. So, Jimmy Key, and let me look at, there's one more stat on here that I think is pretty interesting as well. Let me pull that up for you for Jimmy Key. Okay, no, I was looking at something else. Okay, never mind. He gave up 24 home runs real world. He's only given up 69 in the, only given up 6 in the replay. So the way the Orioles They're not a good team, but they still can hit the ball pretty decent. So Jimmy Key's not out of the woodwork by any means. It's usually their pitching that costs the Orioles. So Jimmy Key's not going to get a necessarily walk in the park for this game. Not going to get a bye like they do in the NCAA tournament. Not going to get a bye week playing a weaker team. So Mike Young on the season is on the replay is hitting 205, 3 homers, 4 driven in. He hit 240 in the real season. And before we throw the first pitch, of course, we have to have a ceremonial first sip. That gets the game officially underway. I know it's not showing up on the camera there, but the steam coming out, I heated an extra 30 seconds in a microwave so it'd be nice and piping hot. So it would take longer for it to get cool up here. So hopefully through this, up into the 7th inning stretch, this thing stays warm. We'll find out. Here's Mike Young. 5-9, and that's going to be a fly ball to right field, and Jesse Barfield will haul it in. 1 away. And that'll send up Lee Lacy, the right fielder for the Orioles. Lee Lacy is hitting 295 on the replay. 4 homers, 11 driven in. He hit 244 real world. That's a 4-3, and it's a fly ball left field X. We're looking at George Bell. He's a 2E13 for George Bell. 2-11, he will get to that. No problems. 2-11 is an F2. That's a 6, and he is an E13. E13, there is a 6 here, so it's a 1-base error on George Bell right here. 13 and a 6 is a 1-base error on George Bell. So Bell, not sure what he was thinking there, but didn't secure the catch. And Lee Lacy, assuming that the ball was going to get caught, didn't run continuously out of the box, so he only gets the 1 base. So he's at first base with 1 out and 1 on for Cal Ripken Jr. Lacy not going to be held at first base. Ripken, on the replay, is hitting 240, 7 homers, 26 driven in. He hit 252 real season. Nothing on the Havoc. We get a 1-9 for Ripken, and that's a 1 for a double. Anything else, he flies to left field. That's a 16. So this time, George Bell able to secure it for out number 2. And that brings up Eddie Murray, steady Eddie Murray, first baseman, hitting 307 on the replay, 11 homers, 30 driven in. He at 277 real world. Switch hitter, batting right-handed. 6-8, and that's a strikeout for Jimmy Key, and that will end the inning. So Key pitches around the error, picks up his teammate, and the Orioles go relatively quiet after that error. We go to the bottom of the first. It is Baltimore nothing, and the Blue Jays coming to bat. And left-hander Eric Bell on the mound for the Orioles. He was 10-13 with a 5.45 ERA real world. On the replay, he is 3-3 with a 6.44 earned run average. 50 innings pitched, 50 hits, 24 walks, and 39 strikeouts. Leading off for the Blue Jays will be switch hitting shortstop Tony Fernandez. Fernandez hitting 352 on the replay, a homer and 14 driven in. He hit 322 real world. Switch hitter batting right-handed. And we get a 2-12, and that's going to be a line out to third base where Ray Knight will snag it. And that's 1 away. Brings up the center fielder Lloyd Mosby, lefty on lefty matchup. Mosby on the replay hitting 323, 14 homers, 49 driven in. He hit 262 real world. That's a 6-6 for Bell against the lefty, and he's going to walk him. So Mosby draws the free pass, and now he's looking to get a lead. He needs a 2, 3, 4, or 5 to get the lead. Doesn't get it, so he will hold. That brings up Jesse Barfield. He is leading the league in home runs with 18, hitting 18 homers, 48 runs driven in on the replay, hitting 316. He hit 263 real world. Orioles would love to see a double play ball. 1-5, but they won't. It's a fly to center, so that's out number 2 as Freddie Lynn hauls it in. 2 down, still not out of the woodwork yet. George Bell stepping to the plate. Left fielder, Bell hitting 307 on the replay, 15 homers, 43 driven in. He hit 308 real world. 1-3, and that is a strikeout. So Bell strikes out Bell. How about that? We got a Bell versus a Bell. Just noticed that. Bell versus Bell, and the Eric version won this one. At the end of one complete from Exhibition Stadium, we've got no score. Orioles and the Jays. Jimmy Key back out will face Fred Lynn, Ray Knight, and Terry Kennedy. Talk about a veteran group right there. Those are some guys that have been in the league for quite some time, all of them, particularly Lynn. All right, Fred Lynn, center fielder, hitting .213 on the replay, 11 homers, 25 driven in. He had .253 real world. Lefty on lefty matchup. 5-7, and that's a 1-4 single, but that's a 5, so it's a line out to second base. And that's the kind of year Jimmy Key's been having. He's getting those borderline calls in his favor. They've been going his way, and that's why he's been so successful. It'll bring up Ray Knight. Knight hitting .239 on the replay, 4 homers, 17 driven in. He at .256 real world. Oh, and that one got caught up in there, so let's they got to all come out at the same time. 3-7, and that's a strikeout for Ray Knight. Jimmy Key with his second strikeout. And here's Terry Kennedy. Kennedy, lefty hitter, hitting .231 on the replay, 11 homers, 25 driven in, hit .250 real world. 5-7, and that is a single 1-4. That time the double die went away from Jimmy Key, and it came up low, and it will be a base hit. So base hit for Terry Kennedy, 2-out single. Of course, he is no threat to run. He does not run well at all. Here's Ken Gerhart, left fielder. Gerhart hitting .200 on the replay in 120 at-bats. 8 homers, 20 driven in. Hit .243 real world. That's a 3-10, and that's going to be a split. 1-11 is a single. That's a 9, so it's another base hit. 1-star advance. Runners at first and second with 2 outs for Rick Burleson. Another old-timer. In fact, both these guys were on the 75 Red Sox team. That tells you how far back we're going here. Rick Burleson on the replay, hitting .197, no homers, 4 driven in. He at .209 real world. It is a clutch situation. And let's see, I don't think Burleson is not rated for clutch against lefties. So 5-11, and that's a ballpark single check. It's a 1-9. That is a 1. So base hit for Burleson is going to load the bases. So 3 consecutive singles after the first 2 are out. And now the order flips over to Mike Young. Bases are loaded with 2 outs from Mike Young. And Key's got to pitch around this. He got Young to fly to right field his first time up. Hello, are you ready? So Jimmy Key trying to get out of this in the clutch for Young. He will lose a hit on 1-11. Also loses hits on 3-4 and 3-5. That's a 1-3. It's a ballpark single check again, but that's a 15 and that's a 9. So Jimmy Key gets the break there. Just a line out to short. And the Orioles will leave the bases loaded. Leaving the bases loaded. That might come back to bite them. We go to the bottom of the second. Still no score. Due up for the Blue Jays is Cecil Fielder. Cecil Fielder was off to a red-hot start at one point. Definitely cooled down lately. He's hitting .288 with 9 homers and 18 driven in. He hit .269 real world. Hello, Tribe. Good to see you. 3-5 is a lefty. That's a 1-3 single, but that's an 18, so he's going to line it to short. And that's 1 away. Cecil Fielder out of there. Here's Willie Upshaw. Upshaw is the one Blue Jay that's been struggling all season long. He hit .244 real world, but in the replay, he's only hitting .197. With just 1 home run and 15 RBI. He had 15 home runs real world. 1-8, and that's a base on balls, so at least he reaches base. Second walk issued by Bell. Let's see. Would he try to? Not really good. They don't want to. They got to hold him on, but he's not going to try anything. If the pitcher had and catcher had like a +4, +5, he might try it. But on a 0, I don't think they're going to risk it here. Hello, Joel. How are you? Good to see you. Kelly Gruber, third baseman, hitting .331 on the replays, really way above his skis. 6 homers, 21 driven in. In real world, he only hit .235. That's a 5-5, and that's a fly to center. Fred Lynn will haul it in. 2 down. 2 are gone. And here's Ernie Witt, the catcher. Despite the lefty on the mound, they're using Ernie Witt to catch, not Charlie Moore. So Ernie Witt gets the call. Possibly a thing there with Jimmy Key where they want to keep those guys together. So Ernie Witt on the replay hitting .291, 7 homers, 22 driven in. He hit .269 real world. Nothing on the habit. 1-6 is another base on balls. That's the third walk issued by Bell, and he's only faced 8 batters. He's walked 3 of them. That'll bring up Manny Lee, the second baseman, in a clutch situation, number 9 hitter. Manny Lee in limited duty is hitting .294, no homers, 2 driven in. He hit .256 real world. In the clutch against lefties, he loses a couple of hits, 1 on 3-5 and 1 on 2-3. Bases are full of, I'm sorry, first and second. I thought the bases were full at first, but it's first and second. Not bad. 6-7, switch hitter being right-handed. Ground ball, second base X. That's Burleson, but he's a 4. That could be problems. He is a 4. That double dies in 19, so he caught a break. 4 and 19, he'll get to that, obviously. It's a G1. That is a 12, and he is an E18. Second base, E18. There's a 13 there, but no 12. So Burleson makes the play. Would have been a double play with less than 2 outs, but since there were already 2 outs, he just throws to first, gets the easy out, and the inning is over. So after 2 complete from Exhibition Stadium, score remains 0-0. Orioles will send the 2, 3, and 4 hitters to the plate. Lee Lacy, Cal Ripken, and Eddie Murray. Lacy reached on a George Bell error in left field his first time up. Jimmy Key still shaking his head about that one, how that one dropped in. 1-4 for Lacy. That's a solid double. There's no blaming anybody on that one. It's a double to right field, but Barfield had no chance to get to that one. That's a solid double for Lee Lacy. Leadoff double. No question about it. Here's Cal Ripken. That's a 5-3. It's a ground ball first base C, so Upshaw will get it. He has to range to get it, flips to Key covering for the out, but going to third base is Lacy on the 3-1 ground out. And now with 1 out, the infield is going to come in for Eddie Murray. I would not want to be the third baseman, Gruber, playing in with this hard swinging right-handed Murray coming up against Jimmy Key, but that's what he's going to have to deal with. Infield is in. Murray struck out his first time. That's a 2, chance for a balk or a pass ball. We're looking pass ball, and that's only a 3 for Ernie Witt. That's a 5, so no pass ball. So Murray will stand in there with Lacy at third. 1 out, infield is in. 3-5, and that is a walk. So base on balls number 1 issued by Jimmy Key. It does set up a double play. So now with Freddie Lynn up there, the infield's going to go back to a double play depth. See if they can turn 2 on Mr. Lynn. For 6, that's a strikeout. Jimmy Key gets a big strikeout. That's his 3rd of the game. Runner still at the corner. Now 2 outs for Ray Knight. Infield back at its normal positions. And it's a clutch situation for Knight. He loses a hit on 1-9 and on 3-5. So 2 spots he's going to lose hits in this clutch situation. Runners at the corners, 2 outs, no score, top of the 3rd. 2-5 for Knight. That's another strikeout, and Jimmy Key gets out of it. So leadoff double doesn't come back to get him. He pitches out of it, strikes out the last 2 guys he faces, and we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Still scoreless here at the Toronto Exhibition Stadium before they got into the Rogers Center, or whatever they called it before the Rogers Center. A lot of names for it. All right, here's Tony Fernandez. Line to third his first trip. 4-7 against the righty. He will draw the base on balls. That's 4 walks issued by Eric Bell. He's having walk issues. Look at his card here. He walked 78 in 165 innings. It's still a little high on the walk total for the replay for this game, but he's just having some bad rolls. Fernandez is going to try to get the lead. Needs a 6 or a 7. Doesn't get it. He'll hold. Here's Lloyd Mosby. 4-5. That's ground ball, second base C. So it kind of acts like a sac bunt, as Fernandez will take second. Sure, that's not what Mosby had in mind, but at least it wasn't a double play. So Barfield is up with the runner in scoring position and 1 out. Skydome, thank you very much. So we're not the Sky. We're a couple of years away from the Skydome. All right, here's Jesse Barfield. I think the exhibition stadium where the Toronto Argonauts played in the CFL. Here's Barfield. 5-10. Ground ball third base X. We're looking at Knight 4E23. Boy, a lot of 4s. We got 3 4s on the defense for the Orioles. So a 4E23 for Knight. Oh, and the 2, the double dive was awful for the Orioles. 4 and a 2 is an SI2, so it's a 2-star single. That's going to score Fernandez from first base. Single by Barfield. We'll see if there's going to be an error to add the insult to the injury, or the injury to the insult, whatever you want to call it. That's a 12. And Knight is an E23. There's an 11 and a 13 there, but no 12. So Knight does not make an error, but he does allow the ball to get past him for an RBI single for Jesse Barfield. And the Blue Jays take a 1-0 lead. Barfield not really a runner, so he's not going to be held. And that'll bring up George Bell. That's a 1, so it's a possible wild pitch, which on Bell is a 13. It is going to be a wild pitch. So again, we have Bell versus Bell, but this time before the matchup starts, it's a wild pitch from Eric Bell. Takes the double play out of the equation. Struck out George Bell his first time up. 3-8, and this is a ground ball to short. That would have been a double play to end the inning, but instead it's just a ground out. Runner still at second base and 2 outs. So that wild pitch was huge. So 2 outs for Cecil Fielder. It is a clutch situation for Fielder. I don't know if he had enough at bats to be. He only had 175 at bats. They do give him a rating, though. They do ding him on a 1-3 and on a 3-8. So he had enough, I guess, to rate him for. Now, right-handers he didn't, because he only faced right-handers 13% of the time. He faced left-handers 87% of the time. All right, here is Cecil Fielder. 5-2, and that's a strikeout for Bell. Dot there, but of course he's not tired yet. That's the first strikeout for Bell. But the Blue Jays strike first, a walk in a ground out and a single, produce a run, a little small ball there, and the Blue Jays lead at 1-0 after 3. We go to the top of the 4th. It will be Kennedy, Gerhardt, and Burleson, bottom of the Orioles lineup. Hello, Kathy. Good morning to you. I remember that, Tim. I remember the right field wall was just kind of cut out in the football field, and there was nothing behind it. So if a home run went there, that ball would just probably hit on the turf and roll for like a couple of 100 feet or something. It was not a pleasant place to watch a game. I don't think, because I think that stadium was designed for football. But from what I understand, Skydome / Rogers Center is really a nice place to watch a ball game. Never been there, so I don't know, but seems to be. And Kathy, there we got the coffee here. Got to have that. All right. Terry Kennedy leads off. 5-9. That's a ground ball right back to Jimmy Key. Easy play. One away, and here comes Ken Gerhardt, left fielder. He singled his first chance. We get a 2-7, and that is a strikeout. Strikeout number 5 for Jimmy Key. He's not really known as a strikeout pitcher, but the Oriole batters seem to strike out a lot. Let's see, Jimmy Key struck out 161 in 261 innings, so that's not all that great. I think in History Maker, he might get a semi-flash out of that, but not much more. Here's Burleson. 3-5 for Burleson. That's a 1-6 double, but that's a 20, so that's a fly to George Bell and left. It's a 1-2-3 inning, go the Orioles. And we go to the bottom of the 4th, still 1-0, favor of the Blue Jays. Bottom of the 4th we go, and it's top of the order. Next thing will be top of the order for the Orioles. This is the bottom of the order for the Blue Jays. Upshaw, Gruber, and Witt. And there is a trivia question from Kathy at the top of the 5th. Be ready for that. Here's Willie Upshaw. He walked his first chance. That's a 6-11. That's a ballpark single check, 1-9, but that's a 15, so he's going to line it to second base. And that will take care of Mr. Upshaw. One away. Brings up Gruber. Gruber flew to center his first chance. 3-7, and that is a strikeout for Mr. Bell, his second. 2 down, 2 up, 2 down for Ernie Witt, the catcher. 5-8, and that is a fly to right field, hauled in by Lacey. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Eric Bell. He's done very well. He's tried to match Jimmy Key pitch for pitch, but not getting any run support to help his cause. We go to the top of the 5th. It is still 1-0 Toronto. And now if you turn your attention to the chat area while Jimmy Key takes his warm-up tosses, there is a trivia question coming. Could be baseball related, could be any other kind of related. All right, here's the question. What Cleveland Indian catcher was traded for a player to be named later himself in 1962? Was that Harry Cheedy? I know I did a trivia question about Harry Cheedy, but I thought he was with the Cubs, but maybe I'm wrong. Jimmy Key getting ready to start the top of the order against the Orioles. Young, Lacey, and Ripken. Okay, yeah, that was Kathy, you might not remember, that was the very first trivia question on Jeff's channel. That when I first started watching Jeff's channel, the very first trivia question I ever gave him was what player was traded for himself, and it was Harry Cheedy. I didn't know it was the Indians, though. I thought I saw the Cubs, maybe it was traded to the Cubs and back again. I don't remember the details, but I forever remember that name because it was on the back of a baseball card. That trivia was on the back of a 1977 baseball card, and I remember it to this day. Keeper of useless knowledge in my head. The Mets, okay. Keeper of useless knowledge in my head. I can't remember some of the things that are important, but I can remember useless stuff like that, just the way it works. All right, thank you for that question, by the way. All right, I didn't mean to chime in and beat the rest of the chat, but that one just stuck in my head. All right, here is Mike Young. 2-5 for Young, struck him out, and Jimmy Key was strikeout number 6. He's got the strikeout ball working in this one. Of course, I think the Orioles are helping him out swinging at bad pitches. Could be a little bit of both there. Here's Lee Lacey. He doubled his last time up. 3-10, and that's a ballpark single check, but that's a 6, so it will be a base hit. So Lee Lacey, 2 for 3 in this game. At least he's figured out Jimmy Key. Nobody else has on the Orioles, but he has. And here's Cal Ripken. Jimmy Key has had some base runners on, but he's been able to pitch around it every time. See if that will continue against Cal Ripken. They're not holding Lacey on. 3-11 for Ripken. That's a fly to center field where Lloyd Mosby will haul it in. 2 down. 2 outs for Eddie Murray. He walked his for last time up. That's a 3-6 for Murray. He's going to fly to center, and Mr. Mosby will have another put out in center field to end the inning. Jimmy Key, almost a 1-2-3 inning, gave a 2-out single, but nothing else. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Still 1-0. I like these pitching duels. Lately, it's been like 10-8 and whatever. So I like this is a little bit more sane to me, a little more structured, and a little bit more. I don't know what the right word is for it, but I just like it. I don't write very neat, so it keeps my score sheet moderately neat for whatever that's worth. But if I get a lot of runs, it's a lot of problems. Yeah, it does, Tim. Bob Uecker certainly, if anybody would have done it, you know. Although knowing Uecker, he would try to trade him for himself, but the team would have nixed the trade because they didn't want to trade for Uecker. All right, here is Manny Lee. 4-7, switch hitter being right-handed, is a base on balls. That is walk number 5 for Eric Bell. He's just having issues finding the strike zone. And you can't say the umpire squeezing, is calling him bad today because he's not squeezing Jimmy Key, but he sure is squeezing Eric Bell. And here's Tony Fernandez. He is an A bunter, but man, he's such a good hitter. I hate to take the bat out of his hands. But you know what? We're going to bunt. People say I don't bunt enough, so I'll appease the masses and actually do a bunt, even though I don't know that it really makes sense here, but I'll do it anyway. First, we'll roll the havoc. That's a 1, so I might not have to bunt. If he throws a wild pitch, then the bunt's going to be void. And he does throw a wild pitch, so I don't have to worry about bunting. How about that? Wild pitch takes care of it. That's the second wild pitch issued by Bell. Second time he's done that. Eliminated the double play, and in this case, eliminated the need to bunt because he's already in scoring position. So Fernandez will swing away. 4-10. Ballpark single check. That's an 18, so that's a liner. Actually, I'm going to call it a I'll keep the original result because it doesn't change base running. Fly ball, right field C, nobody can move up, so we'll keep that result. No harm, no foul there. 1 away, and here's Lloyd Mosby. Lloyd Mosby. 2-4 for Mosby. Ground ball, second base A. And again, the wild pitch for the second time has cost him a double play. That would have been a double play. Instead, it's just a ground out with Manny Lee going to third base. So there's 2 away. But Bell has been his own worst enemy with these wild pitches. Cost him a couple of double play chances. So Barfield is up, clutch situation. Runner on third, 2 outs. And he loses a hit on 2-7. And I think that's it. That's all I see. Loses a hit on the 2-7. 4-7. 4-7 is a walk. Are you ready? You will never, ever, ever write this down in stone. You will never, ever, ever see me do a crappy hit and run. It's the worst strategy in baseball. 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. That's per Earl Weaver, and I've stuck to it with Earl Weaver. I agree with him completely. Hit and run's the worst thing you can do in baseball. You want to kill a rally, do a hit and run, line to a double play. All right, 2 is a balk or a pass, or a balk or a pass ball. That's a 5 for a pass ball, but it's only a 2, and that's not going to be a pass ball. But if people want to hit and run, more power to them. It's just not me. So here's Bell. 1-6, and well, there we go. There you go. Jeff's not here, so we can't do the baby wipes because he's not here, but that's clean as it can be. Solid home run for George Bell. That's why he had 47 of them on the regular season. This one is the Earl Weaver special 3-run home run for George Bell. Not quite a Burrito Supreme, but it's up there. And that's home run number 16 for George Bell. A 3-run shot. It is now 4-0 Blue Jays. RBIs 44, 45, and 46. And the Blue Jays lead it 4-0. This is Bell's fatigue inning, so he's going to be very close to fatigue here. In fact, he is fatigued now, giving up that 3-run homer. But since there are 2 outs, they're going to try to get him through the inning with Cecil Fielder. 5-4 is a catcher X. We're looking at Terry Kennedy. 4E4. 4 and a 20. He's good with that. E4, that's a rare play. So let's see here. E4 and a 20 is a G2. So we've got a G2 rare play, but I think with the bases empty, rare plays don't usually kick in until there's runners on base. And that's exactly what it is. So with no runners on base, a G2 is simply something that deflects off the mound. It was a stupid rare play they come up with. But since it's to the catcher, it's not going to go off the mound. It's to the catcher, so I don't think the ball's going to hit off the mound and come back to the catcher. That's not going to happen. So just a 2-3 ground out, but a 3-run bomb from George Bell, and the Blue Jays take a 4-0 lead. The fielder grounds out. Jimmy Key now with a 4-0 lead to work with. He's going to be facing Fred Lynn. 6-8, and that is a ground ball shortstop X. That's going to be Fernandez. He's a 1, so we know he's going to get to it. We're just checking the E17. E17 and an 8 is, I don't believe, any problem whatsoever. E17, the only errors are 15, 16, and 17, so definitely a good play for Tony Fernandez. 1 away, and that will send up Ray Knight. 1-7, and that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 7 for Jimmy Key. Boy, he's got the strikeout pitch going in this one. Not really known as a super strikeout pitcher, that's for sure. Oh, I didn't know Woody Hayes said that about throwing. Is that why they ran? Well, if I had Archie Griffin, I'd run the ball all the time too. But I mean, maybe it's just this philosophy about running the ball. Of course, that was back in the day when the defensive backs could literally maul the receivers and get away with it. Now it makes sense to pass because all the rules are in favor of the passing team. And if you even breathe on a guy, it's pass interference. So, yeah, if I was running a football team, I'd be running the 2-minute drill pass happy every single time. I wouldn't even run the ball. Why waste your time? Here's Terry Kennedy. 5-6, and that's going to be a strikeout. He's not tired, so that's strikeout number 8. The only time I'd run the ball is to protect the lead. But I pass to get the lead and run the ball to protect the lead. I think that's what the Patriots did a lot of times with Tom Brady. All right, here is Eric Bell. He is tired, but let's see. We got 2 out of 3 left-handers, so they're going to let him try to go through the inning. The bullpen is active for the Orioles. We do have, let's see who's got the most rest. I want to bring in Williamson, but I want to make sure he's not being overused. Let me check Williamson's availability. 10%. Schmidt's right there with him. Let's check Dixon. No, it's going to be Mark Williamson. Not bringing him in yet. He's going to warm up in the bullpen. Mark Williamson, a right-hander, is loosening the Oriole bullpen. Right now, they're going to let Bell start the inning and see what he can do against these lefties. Facing first, Willie Upshaw. 6-10, and that is whoa, look at this. Eric Bell, an in home run straight up. But Willie Upshaw, because he's left-handed, has weak power. So it will not be a home run. It will be a single. Will be a single instead. So base hit for Upshaw. And that'll bring up Kelly Gruber. One 3 for Gruber is a ballpark single check. That's a 3. It's a base hit. And this may be very close to the beginning of the end for Eric Bell. They'll let him face Witt, and that's going to be it. Witt will be his last batter he's going to face. 1-7 for Witt. He struck him out, and that's going to do it for Bell. Strikeout for Bell, number 3, but he's going to leave the ball game. With the switch hitters coming up, they're going to Mark Williamson out of the bullpen. So Williamson will get the call. Right-hander Mark Williamson will get the call for Eric Bell. Williamson on the real season was 8-9 with a 4.03 earned run average. We'll see what he can do when he faces Manny Lee. Can't close the book on Bell. He went 5 1/3, but he is responsible for these 2 base runners. He has given up only 4 hits. It's been the walks that have gotten to him. He gave up a hit here, a home run here, and a couple of hits here, but it's been the walks that have been the issue. The 5 walks. Actually, 6 walks. I miscounted 6 walks. 6 walks for Bell. So we go to the bullpen for Mark Williamson. And we'll see what he did on the replay. As we said, on the real season, he was 8-9 with a 4.03 ERA and 3 saves. On the replay, he's 3-2 with a 3.05 ERA and 4 saves. So he's done a little bit better on the replay. Comes in with 1 out and runners at first and second. Facing Manny Lee. Williamson is a +2 hold, so we'll write that in there. That's a 3-8. And this time against the right-hander is a split chance. 1-2 is a single. That's a 20. He lines it to second base. And that is going to be out number 2. And had Lee been facing the lefty, that would have been a single 2 stars. So made the right change at the right time, apparently. And here's Tony Fernandez with 2 outs. Situation against right-hander this time. And he has no clutch ratings, interestingly enough. He's very neutral. Completely neutral in the clutch. This time a turnaround bat left-handed. 1-9, and that's going to be a single to right field. Lacey out there as a 0 arm. So we'll see Upshaw not being held makes him a 15. 2 outs makes him a 17. 1-17, he would score. Gruber runs at a 15. He would take the extra base. Fernandez would take the extra base. But I think you have to throw through. You're down 4-0. You can't just give up another run carte blanche. You have to try, even though the odds aren't with you. So once again, it would be a 1-17 to score this. But they're going to throw to the plate. And if the runners advance, they advance. But you just can't give that up. You have to take the chance. And they score. So Fernandez will take second on the throw. Gruber takes third on the throw. And scoring is Upshaw to make it 5-0. That run is charged to Eric Bell. And that'll bring up Mosby, left-hander, who is 0 for 2. Another clutch situation. This one he loses a hit on 3-9. And I think that's it, just the 3-9. Get a 5-6, and that's a strikeout for Williamson. That will end the inning. But the Blue Jays tack on a run, so we can close the book on Bell. 5 runs, all earned for Bell. And we'll go to the box score just to get the official numbers to make sure my math's not off. So we can really close the book on Bell. Bell will go 5 1/3, give up 4 hits, 5 runs, walk 6, strike out 4. And he's going to be saddled with the loss unless his team can make a major comeback. 5 runs against Jimmy Key, though, is not going to be easy. This is Jimmy Key's fatigue inning, number 7, so we'll keep an eye on that. Number 7. It'll be Gerhart Burleson. Now, we're in the 7th inning, so they can pinch in for Burleson, although Burleson does have a hit already. So we'll see what happens. Here's Gerhart. 3-7 for Gerhart. That's a single. So Gerhart with the base hit. And I believe they're going to pinch hit for Burleson here. They need some better offensive options, even though Burleson did get that one lucky ballpark hit. They're going to go, but all their good hitters are left-handed. That's the problem. But they'll use Rene Gonzalez. At least he's a better hitter. He's a 267 hitter versus a 209 hitter. So they're going to use Rene Gonzalez to pinch hit. Don't walk away, Rene Gonzalez. And he will stay in the game to play second base in the bottom of the 7th. So Rene Gonzalez, right-hander. He hit 267 on the real season. Let's see what he's done on the replay as we bring him in on the computer. Gonzalez is hitting 333, but he's 9 for 27. No homers, 2 driven in. He had 60 at-bats real world and hit 267. So here we go. Jimmy Key to the pinch hitter, Rene Gonzalez. Whoop, that white die didn't go through. Let's redo that. 3-7, and that is a ground ball shortstop A. We finally get a Giovanni's Taylor shot. Tailor-made double play. 6-4-3. So Giovanni's Tailor shop out there in Pennsylvania somewhere. Not sure the town again, but somewhere out in Pennsylvania. Is recognized as the tailor-made double play of the game from Giovanni's Tailor shop. Here's Mike Young, now with the bases empty and 2 down. Get a 5-9, and that's a fly to right field, hauled in by Barfield. And there you go, Jimmy Key, still rolling. 5-0 ball game. We go to the 7th inning stretch, but I'm going to keep going. I don't need a stretch break right now. We're going to keep rolling. Williamson to Barfield to start the bottom of the 7th. And we have to, the computer's telling me I got to remember to put Rene Gonzalez in at second base. So let's do that. Now here's Jesse Barfield. 6-7, and that's going to be a 1-14 single. That's a 16 though, so he lines it to short. So Williamson caught a break off the D20 on that one. Brings up Bell, who hit that 3-run homer his last time up. 5-7, and this time he grounds it to second. That's the new second baseman, Gonzalez. And Gonzalez is a 3E32 as opposed to a 4E18. So his range is better, but his error rating is a little bit higher. 3E32. 3 and a 4 needs all the range he can get. But even that's not going to help him. 3 and a 4 is going to be a base hit. That's a 9, and he is an E32, I believe I said he was. Wait a minute. That's a 9, and he's an E. What did I say he was? An E32. Okay, E32. There is no 9. There's 11, 15, 17, and 18. There is no 9, but it is a base hit for George Bell. There's not even the better range of Gonzalez could stop that one. Got bounded on the AstroTurf and just kept rolling. Here's Cecil Fielder, 0 for 3. Facing Williamson. 2-9, and he will strike out. 2 down. And that'll send us to Willie Upshaw. Kelly Gruber on deck. Willie Upshaw singled and scored his last trip. 4-12, and that's a ground ball back to Williamson. That will end the inning. So Williamson has enough endurance to finish the game for the Orioles and save the rest of the bullpen for another day. At least that's the hope that they might have. We go to the 8th inning. Still 5-0 favor of the Blue Jays. 5 runs, 6 hits, and an error on the Blue Jays. No runs, 6 hits, and no errors for the Orioles after 8 innings of play. Lee Lacy, the only guy that's got base all 3 times against Jimmy Key. He's stepping to the plate to start the 8th inning. 5-2, and that's a fly ball to right field. They finally retire Lee Lacy as Barfield makes the play. 1 away for Cal Ripken. Ripken's 0 for 3. 2-6, and that is a pop-up to the first baseman, Willie Upshaw. 2 down, so Jimmy Key just cruising along. Now he's going to face Eddie Murray Murray is 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout. Actually, he's 0 for 2. 4-5. Switch hitter batting right-handed is a fly to left. Now he's 0 for 3. 1-2-3 inning. Jimmy Key keeps endurance into the ninth as he goes for the complete game shutout to try to improve to 12-0 and put a chokehold on the MVP of the first half of this league. Williamson back out just to try to keep things from getting out of hand. It'll be Gruber, Witt, and Lee, bottom of the order. 3-9, and that is a single for Kelly Gruber. Leadoff single. That'll bring up Ernie Witt. Nobody's being held. Nobody's doing anything with the score being what it is. We're just going to play it out. That's a 2-9 for Witt, and this is a possible home run. 2-9 for Witt. A 1-4 is a home run, but that's a 17. He'll settle with a double. Settling with a double. The double's assumed to go to center, but with nobody out, they'll hold Gruber. Well, Gruber would be a 1-16 because he wasn't being held. It'd be a 1-16. Why not send him? 1-16. They're going to send him. And he's in there. So it's an RBI double for Ernie Witt. Witt does not take third because he's only a 10 runner. You have to be, in my world, you have to be a 13 or higher to take the extra base. So he stays at second base. But it's an RBI double for Ernie Witt. And it is now 6-0 Blue Jays. And here's Manny Lee. Still nobody out. 6-7, switch hitter is a single to right field. Witt will hold at third as he does not run well. So now they're bordering on whether you leave Williamson in there. Down 6-0, it's a losing cause. If you bring in another pitcher, you're just using him unnecessarily perhaps. But they're going to go ahead and leave Williamson in there for now against Tony Fernandez. They're back for the double play. The outs. 2-3, and they get that double play. Ground ball, second base, A. That is another tailor-made double play. Witt will score, but that's irrelevant because now it just makes it 7-0. What's the difference? 6-0, 7-0. No difference. It's a 4-6-3 double play. Another Giovanni's Tailor Shop double play, but it does eliminate a larger inning from happening. Then you can limit it just to the 2 runs. No RBI, of course, is given to Fernandez for that. 2 outs, base is clear now for Lloyd Mosby. 3-4 for Mosby is a ground ball to first, and Eddie Murray will take it to end the inning. So 2 more runs come in. We can close the book on Williamson. Williamson's going to go 2 2/3 innings, and he's going to give up 5 hits and 2 runs. And let's see here. 1, 2 strikeouts. I don't see any walks. So no walks, 2 strikeouts. So we go to the top of the 9th. It is now 7-0 Blue Jays. The only question now is, can Jimmy Key get a complete game and can he get a shutout? Key will be facing Lynn, Knight, and Kennedy here in the top of the 9th. That's a 5-12, and that's a ballpark blast for Fred Lynn, but that's a 20. He would have had normal power, but it's only an 11 and the D20. I'll tell you what, Jimmy Key's living right when he's getting those kind of rolls. That is a deep fly to right. That normally would have been gone, but the 20 took care of that. And here's Ray Knight. You got to have some luck in this game if you're Jimmy Key. You got the skill, but you got to have some luck once in a while. 2-4 is a line out to second base. That is snagged by Manny Lee. And we're down to the final out, perhaps, which is Terry Kennedy. Kennedy is 1 for 3. We had a 1-5, and he's going to ground it to Manny Lee, and that's going to do it. Jimmy Key, a shutout victory, 7-0 over the lowly Orioles. complete game victory. He scattered 6 hits. So we'll go to the box score to get the totals. I know George Bell hit a 3-run homer, but to me, the player of the game unquestionably is Jimmy Key. He improves to 12-0 with the win, lowers his earned run average to a paltry 1.27. Walked 1, struck out 8. I mean, he was large and in charge and took care of business. Blue Jays improved now to 33-18 on the season. Lowly Orioles dropped to 20-33. Look at the standings now based on this victory for the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays now are 2 games in back of the Brew Crew. They're 1 game ahead of the Yankees and 2 games behind the Brewers. And speaking of the Yankees and the Brewers, that is our ball game tomorrow. Yankees will be in Milwaukee. It'll be Tommy John against Juan Nieves. That will be from County Stadium in Milwaukee. That will be tomorrow's game. Tommy John against Juan Nieves, a couple of lefties. It'll be game number 361 in the replay. I need to fill in all the ratings, of course, but I got the skeleton part of it taken care of. But that will be the game tomorrow. Yankees and the Brewers. Almost a must-win for the Yankees. They're 3 games back. They don't want to fall 4 games back, so they really need to win that game. Yankees, by the way, are 33-20, which is exactly where they were in real world. Toronto is now 33-18. They were 31-20 in real world. Brewers are the ones that are exceeding expectations by 6 wins. They're 34-15, but they were only 28-21 real world. So when they lost Molitor in real world in the month of May, they kind of tanked. But in this replay, they've treaded water and actually gained a little ground. And that's just the way it goes. You're welcome, Kathy. Thank you for being with me and your trivia question. And I hope Jeff's doing all right. Didn't see him, but hopefully he's doing okay. Maybe he'll catch this on the replay or something. But anyway, Jimmy Key, man, he's the man. Jimmy Key, he's now 12-0 with an ERA of 1.27. And there's nobody even close to him in the replay. He is gotten it done. Blue Jays have won 33 games. He's won 12 of them. You take his starts away or his wins away, then the Blue Jays would be down to 21-18, almost a 500 ball club. So he's been very, very instrumental in their success. But tomorrow, it is the Yankees and the Brewers from County Stadium. Tommy John against Juan Nieves. And chance to see Mr. May again, Dave Winfield, tomorrow. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you all are having a great day, whatever you have planned for the rest of your day. Until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.